For more, we are joined by Chuck Marino tonight, founder and CEO at Sentinel, as well as former U.S. Secret Service executive. Chuck, always good to see you. And I want to talk about the activity we're seeing at these properties, at the home of Nancy Guthrie and then Annie Guthrie as well. Investigators were at the daughter Annie's house for about 3 hours. We see them leaving, wearing blue gloves, carrying brown bags. This is the last place Nancy was at before she disappeared from her home, Ubering to Annie's home for games and dinner, then being driven home by a family member. What might investigators be searching for now in Annie's home?
Well, I think they're looking to rule possible suspects out in terms of family members, which unfortunately is something that you need to do, as well as other close associates. Of course, the home of Nancy Guthrie remains the primary crime scene where the abduction took place. But, you know, one thing I'll note here is the extent that this remains unresolved, the length of time. If this were purely transactional, that is money for the safe return of Nancy Guthrie, in my opinion, this would have been done already if this were purely a money grab on the part of the perpetrators. So one of two things must be true. Either something went horribly wrong much sooner than the perpetrators thought regarding the health and well-being of Nancy Guthrie, or money has never been the main driving motivation for this kidnapping, at which case it becomes highly personal to, one would suspect, Savannah Guthrie, and either based on her notoriety or perceived wealth or both. But something is out of whack here. Something is not following the normal protocol in terms of these types of cases.
You know, just an hour before we came on the air last night, the Guthrie family posting that new video this weekend saying, "We will pay," and that this is the only way we will have peace. I want to take a quick moment to listen to what renowned attorney Mark Garagos thought that this new video is indicating. Let's take a listen.
My belief was that when they asked for proof of life and when they said they would pay, and I was asked, you know, do you think they will? And I think they will. And specifically that there is a crypto or Bitcoin demand. I think they got the proof of life, and I think they are willing to pay because they want her back. And the reason I think they made this next step is they do have proof of life, which I hope I'm right, because there were quite a few people speculating a lot more negative outcomes.
Are you equally hopeful in your belief that there might be a positive outcome to this terrible story?
Well, I'm going to remain hopeful because even though the length of time is not historically good news for the outcomes in these cases, it's bad news for the perpetrators as well, because it's requiring them to communicate more. Even though it's through third parties, it's still giving investigators additional time to deploy different investigative techniques and technologies to find out where they are. And I think the perpetrators would know, based on the sophistication of the trying to conceal the internet protocol addresses of their communications and things like that, that the more time they give investigators, the worse news it potentially could be for them. But to the point that you just played, if the family has been given proof of life, then why are the perpetrators making it so hard to make this payment? This is the part that's not making sense to me. So there's something outside of the norms here that's not following the typical play-by-play that you would expect in a kidnap for ransom. Now, we've got a lot of experience with this in terms of both dealing with the people that carry out these crimes, the victims, as well as things like ransomware, where the systems of a company are overtaken in exchange for ransom, all of which are ultimately paid, believe it or not. The majority of the American public may believe that, you know, victims of these crimes don't give in and pay a ransom. No, it's quite the opposite. They do once it's satisfied that the people they're dealing with are in fact the right people that have carried out the crime in the first place.
So, and then on the other end of that,
yeah,
how often can that money be recovered? How often can the people who actually perpetrated this, how often are they actually found and prosecuted?
So I got to tell you, the fact that the request is for Bitcoin, which has to be made payable to a crypto wallet, is still tough to track down. The US government has gotten a lot better at being able to validate the crypto wallet ownership and verifying that and confirming that in fact it's correct. But however, it's still not a perfect science. And the kidnappers in this case know that. But why they haven't executed in completing this transaction is either twofold. Either they haven't satisfied the demands of the family and law enforcement regarding proof of life, or they're trying to kick this can down the road because they can't provide proof of life, both of which are equally disturbing. One is more disturbing than the other, unfortunately, which means that something went astray as they were leading the 84-year-old mother of Savannah Guthrie outside of the residence. Remember, as hard as it was for an 84-year-old in poor health to exit the home in a quick fashion, it's just as problematic as it is for the kidnappers.
And of course, the blood in the front of that doorway is so concerning. Chuck Marino, always appreciate the analysis, the context, the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.